Wow. I'm actually doing something. It's been a while. Yeah. For those that are in the know, yeah, I'm currently in Arizona and I'm finding my way as best as I can. That is as good as I can put it. At the very least, I've been able to obtain a means of employment. It's nothing extravagant. It's a starter. It's something to get my foot in the door, just so I can have money again. But part of why I'm even making this little snippet is because I wanted to give preface as to is there anything that'll come of the blog as well as the podcast. I see them as both they're one and the same in some cases, but I like to try and treat them separately for those that remember when I first started doing podcasts. It was very much bi-weekly. I do them every other Saturday. They come out, and well, I only did a few episodes, so you get to see how that all came about. Um, and that's on me. That's on me for not wanting to really take it. Well, no, I won't put myself down like that. It's not that I didn't take it seriously. I wanted to focus on other things at the time. I was in Tennessee, spending that month with a lot of great people, and I am so glad that I got to spend the time with them because it kind of gives me motivation for where I'm at right now with Arizona and such. Um, I do still plan to keep doing stuff with the podcast. I am still looking to find a lot of different programs or just websites that I can use, at least for right now. But maybe when I get a little bit more money under my belt, I can look at just getting a different laptop. I want something that's Windows based so I can actually have access to programs that I can just download and install without having to deal with Chrome OS's extremely proprietary based system, where it's like you can't. So you essentially can't download anything that's not from the Play Store, but they do have a Linux virtual machine, which I'm using, but that's very hit or miss. And it's been fun to at least learn a little bit of the Linux economy, if you will, or the economical system for that. Um, it is. It's been rough mentally for me. I won't lie. Been in a very dark place for the last month or so, and then, like, here we are in October. This is the month that I'm always looking forward to, and I always tell myself that I'm going to try and achieve something during the month of October. But I've known, but like for the last couple of years, it's always been something. It's either I've been sick or something comes up, some event takes place, and I'm just kind of taken out of position, or I allow myself to be taken out of position because I could always turn it into something better. I'm finding that I'm not as emotionally and mentally there like I was when I was in Maryland. But I've talked to some people about this, like my sibby and like one of my good friends. But a lot of the stuff that I didn't really preface on in my time in Maryland, it I didn't really take the time out to process that, and it just kind of put me in this shutdown state. And I feel like I am in still a bit of that shutdown state, and I'm working on not being in that shutdown state. But now it's like I'm here in Arizona, and currently I'm living at a homeless shelter, and it's just like, well, what the fuck, right? But just being able to try and work through that experience. And then also just dealing with the experience of being in Arizona. I've been feeling very on edge while being here. And I don't like that I feel on edge, but there isn't too much that I can really do about that because a lot of it just stems from I find that there are people that are constantly staring at me and side eyeing me. And it's not like something of, oh, I'm wearing something crazy or insane or anything. It's just, it feels like I find eyes on me a lot, and I don't appreciate that. Because me and my culture, I understand how that can lead to something that we don't want. And it just makes me feel like maybe I don't need to be in this in this area. Uh, so Arizona is a swing state, but it is more so giving right leaning. There's Phoenix and there's Tucson. Those are the more progressive cities, the big two for Arizona. And I'm just outside of Phoenix, but that isn't that doesn't really seem to matter much. I feel like so. I don't know. I am rambling a lot because I'm still trying to process a lot of different things on top of this other stuff that I should have been worked on processing. A lot of friends tell me about getting therapy. Yeah, I'd love to get therapy. If it was free, I would do it in a heartbeat, but I don't have therapy money, and I'm still trying to figure out how I can go about having assistance for that or just getting free therapy if there's anything like that, if that even exists. But of course, I don't. Yeah. So honestly, I am just in survival mode. I rather not be, but it's one of those cyclical things at times where you can be up and then you will crash and then it's like, hey, back at it. Yeah. But all in all, I'm not feeling as bad as I did a couple of weeks ago, especially like around my birthday, or on my birthday rather, which is good. But it's just, yeah, I really could just do without a lot of the overwhelming ignorance and just, I feel like there's a lot of malicious intent behind some of the people that I've stumbled across, and I see them just staring at me randomly. And I think part of it stems from thou that shall not be named, just because, like, the amount of signs that I see, and you can only guess what those signs are pertaining to. A certain somebody winning 2024 election. Also, I see a lot of signs for like I think it was Proposition 139 or something like that, talking about saying no to abortion. So that kind of gives you the vibes of this place, and I tell you, it's an experience, for lack of a better term. Right now, I'm actually at a library. It's not the public library in the city that I'm currently staying at. It's south of that city. So I'm enjoying the vibes here. I wouldn't say that it's a place that I could call my new home because right now the whole thing that I'm trying to do is find somebody that I could potentially, if I could find some community here, then sure, I think I could see myself at least staying because then at least I know I have people that I can build with and be able to find some level of structure, especially with how things could possibly go in the next couple of weeks for us. Like, that's insane to think about how we have about 4 weeks until it is, yeah, about 4 weeks, right? Oof. Crazy to think about. Um, So I'm just here to do my best. Plus, another thing to bring into mind is that in 2.5 months. Well, we'll start out. I have until January because the shelter that I'm staying at is whatever. Excuse me. I have until January with them. And it's like, yeah, they talk about, hey, having resources and trying to find housing. I actually missed the deadline for this cycle of housing vouchers. So, yeah, it's not to say there aren't any other resources, but it kind of gives me a reason not to try and make this a more permanent relocation. Honestly, I am still wondering what drew me to coming here. Because I could have very well just stayed back out east, but I don't know. That's another thing that I keep trying to make sense of day by day, but maybe that's just for a later date. I just don't know yet what drew me out here. Because I don't want to just say, oh, it's because it's going to be very pretty out there and whatnot. And I can't even just use the simple, I've never been to Arizona, so why not? There's something more. And while I don't like to be the type of person that tries to get super deep or logical with something like that, it does pay to at least inquire within myself to figure out what drew me to this godforsaken state with all the mess that comes with it. I mean, it's not the worst state. It is definitely not the worst state, but then again, who knows? Depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks, maybe that'll change. I would still say that one of the more unpleasant experiences that I've had was when I lived in Florida. I lived in Miami. Maybe I'll bring that up in a future episode. But for now, I did just want to at least do um, some sort of update. Podcasting wise, I will probably not do it as frequent. It may, and the original plan was I wanted to go ahead and eventually wean myself down to a I do a single uh, primary podcast episode each month with the potential of maybe some special mini episodes or yeah, just mini episodes. Or if I have somebody that I want to go ahead and do like a guest chat with, that is still to come. I still have my list. I just ended up scrapping the dates that I had lined up for those because I just life is much more pertinent right now than trying to hook up with folks to do podcast episodes. But I do want to have sit down talks with some of you guys at some point, just hear your voices and to take my mind off of the madness. So if you ever have the time for that, you can find me on Discord if you have me there. If not, then just look for Sergi Desu. Just put Sergi Desu into the ad friend. I promise you'll find me. Or if you have me on any other social media platform like Instagram, Threads. I use Threads. Granted, I'm on Instagram sharing a lot of unhinged, obscure shit in DMs or putting stuff up on the stories. Uh, I enjoy being on Threads. I feel like there's a little bit more of a personal experience with Threads, talking with people, just chitty chatty on that. And also, it might seem a little archaic to some people, and it might be a little anxiety inducing, but yeah, you can also hit me up on my cell phone line if you are uh, okay with that. I would like to be as open as and as consenting as possible with that. I don't like to just be like, yo, take my number, because some people, they may not be comfortable with that, even if it's just to do texting or voice memos. So if you are fine with that and you'd actually be interested, just hit me up if you don't already have my number. If you do, just shoot me a random text. I ain't got shit going on. I would actually be very happy to receive more text messages, because it's just like, aside from having my one deer booed out here, but they're relatively busy. They don't have a lot of time like that for such right now. They're doing their own thing. But yeah, I would be greatly appreciative to just be spam to all hell with messages if you have the time for it. So yeah, I'm gonna just I'm gonna cut it short here. I didn't feel like it made sense to try and add any music or anything, or do any sort of editing, if you could call it that. But this is an update of some sort on my current situation and where I might be going in the future. If I do decide to make time for another one, I'm still waiting to see what my schedule is going to be. I have orientation on Tuesday. So I may try and plan around that. But then that also comes down to if I have the luxury, because right now I'm in a study room in the library, and it's actually relatively quiet right now. Sometimes you might have somebody that's just treating this like if it were outside or in a supermarket, and I kind of wish that wasn't the case, because it's a library, for Christ's sakes. Why are we getting loud? Please, I beg. But it's if I can get a nice block, so I can have up to 2 hours. So if I were to go ahead and do a podcast, it'll definitely try and be within that 2 hour frame. If I have enough to yap about, or if somebody is available, I'll try and set something up for that. But right now, I want to just focus on getting on the money train again, getting on the grind, starting to save up money so I can start making some key moves in the upcoming future, especially with holidays. I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I'm worried about getting stuff for the holidays. The only thing I want to get for holidays is a peace of mind and some better mental well-being. That's kind of the same thing, but that's the goal. Some mental well-being, and maybe some some warm hugs from some really good people. Um, Also, I said I was going to end this 2 minutes ago. How about that? Just telling lies, Sergi telling lies again. Uh, Recently watched a movie called Tatami. It is about a an Iranian woman who is a world class judoka, and or rather, it's not just about her. It is about the Iranian team, and she was forced to, or she was being pressured into throwing the tournament, because there was the concern of her challenging. Yeah, I think was it was it on? Oh man, I only watched it once, but either way, the supreme ruler of Iran did not want her to face up against this other individual, and as a result, went through great lengths to try and pressure her, as well as the coach of the Iranian women's judoka team, or just the judoka team in general. And it went so far as like, hey, we're gonna send hit squads to capture your family and try and capture your husband and child. and all this other crap. And it was insane. It was about an hour and 45 minutes, but it only took place in that one facility where they were having the tournament. But that was an impressive story, just seeing how she had to go ahead and she was just bucking back. She's like, I'm not going to do this shit. Like, I'm not going to allow them to put me in a box because come to find out, her coach actually did that many moons ago. They forced her coach to fake an injury just so that they could prevent a certain matchup from happening, or so they wouldn't win the gold medal. And it goes in line with this whole thing. And I'm not explaining it super well, but if you ever have time for it and you don't mind watching something that's just more so like martial arts based without being just hyper focused on the action, give Tatami a look. I enjoyed that movie. If you have any recommendations, I would suggest throwing them my way. I'm gonna try and find some movies to watch since where I stay at they don't have Wi-Fi, so I don't use my data. I can still text and like take calls, but I just save what little data I have. That way, if I have something that I really need to do that requires data, I have it. And yeah, that's the situation I'm in. How about that? It really do be like that sometimes, but yeah, I'm gonna end this here. Love you guys. Love you guys so much. I miss a lot of you guys. I miss all you guys.